Hi everyone. So this is the latest in one of our podcasts. This week is quite a specific one. So it is Mental Health Awareness Week. So we're doing a lot around mental health awareness as a union and a university. So we've invited a special guest on who I'll introduce in a moment. I'd like to give a little warning here. There may be some sensitive content that we're discussing. But we will flag that as and when. So within the video, there will be a flag that says trigger warning. So if you'd like to leave, that's absolutely fine. So I'm Becky, I'm President of Development, and we've got Jamie, the Wellbeing SAB as well. And we've also got Adam. So Adam, would you like to introduce yourself? Let us know who you are and kind of the role that you play within the union.
Okay, so for the purpose of this, my name's Adam Parsons. I'm the President for Student Minds. I have been for the past couple of years. And basically I'm there to facilitate actions for Student Minds. So we do things like tea and chat every week, which you'll probably see us in the library. We just started doing that with the Zoom as well. And we also work with the university for things like extenuating circumstances to make sure that you're getting the help you need, potentially on getting extra time on your essays, exams, whatever it is, and everything in between. So basically, if you need help, come and talk to us, because even if we can't help, we can hopefully point you in the right direction.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah, Student Minds it's an interesting one because it's a society, but you play more of a core role than normal societies. Do you want to give us some idea of how you kind of engage with students, like where you'd meet them and those kinds of things?
Yeah, we are a bit interesting because we're a society that doesn't necessarily completely adhere within normal society rules, because we're a national charity as well. So in the same way that the Student Union is a national charity, so is Student Minds. So we have a list of things that we do that is beyond the Student Union, which is probably why I have a reputation of being a pain in the arse. But basically, with Student Minds, the main place that we meet everyone is in the library. So it's the main meeting point for a lot of people. So it seemed like the obvious place to go. So on a Monday, we do from 5 till 7, we have tea and chat. So that's run by our wellbeing officer, who's the same person just been re-elected for next year. So that's Lauren Massa, who's a counselling student. So it makes perfect sense that she would be our wellbeing officer. I know it's inclusion officer, don't use it, it's wellbeing. So she's our wellbeing officer. She runs that along with our treasurer occasionally, who takes over for that. I don't have an impact. I'll occasionally turn up for that, but I don't take over that. That's far more with them. When I deal with things personally within the society and the university, we have helped change the policy for ECRFs in the past, so who can accept them, because we are accepted as evidence for evidence-based ECRFs. And we interact with the university.
Sorry, Adam, can you just explain what an ECRF is for those that don't know?
Yeah, sorry. So ECRF is extenuating circumstances. Basically, whenever you can't make a deadline, you have an ECRF form, so an extenuating circumstances form that you can put in. So you've got different choices. Most of you will probably be using the COVID-19 ones at the moment, but generally in the year you have 2 chances where you can do a self-certified extenuating circumstances form. That basically just means you don't need to give a reason, you don't need to say anything, you just go, this is my deadline, I need an extra 7 days, and that's it. And to be perfectly honest, guys, university doesn't really have a policy that says they'll refuse that. So that's just it. You get 2 of those a year, only 2 of those a year. Beyond that, you've got evidence-based extenuating circumstances forms. They are unlimited. Now, it might be that if you keep taking them out and you go, all I need, also these can be up to 14 days, so you get a bit more of an extension. You do need evidence. Now, we can be the evidence. A letter from us, you come and meet one of us. I have met with a few students and just said, this is the advice that I've given them to go and speak to someone. They have been having issues. That is accepted as evidence. With those, you might find, if your admin and your lecturers are paying attention, that after a while, if you take a certain amount of those out, that somebody's going to say, actually, I think we need to look at maybe something more permanent. And then you'll get your learning support plans and things like that are a lot more long-term and a lot more flexible. I know a lot of people out there are probably on them. I'm on a learning support plan for various reasons as well. So it's not like something you should be ashamed of or try and reject. the main thing of a learning support plan, if it does come to it after extenuating circumstances, is literally about helping and making sure that there's a lot more flexibility. Because I know it can be annoying when you go, oh, I've got 14 days. Oh God, now well, it's longer than 14 days. What the hell do I do now? That's the whole point of it. So yeah, that was a bit long-winded, but yeah.
No, that's fair. I think it's really interesting because a lot of people don't know the difference between, for example, a negotiated learning plan, a learning support plan, and ECRF. So they don't realise that there are things available.
Negotiated learning plans don't exist anymore.
Oh, they don't, do they? That was a very new thing. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. But those were a thing.
They were. They've only changed in the past year. They haven't really changed that much, but yes, there is a new one in place. But the difference is, so what was the new negotiated learning plan is now TLA. I can't remember the what it's actually called, but basically it's a short-term thing. So that if you've got I don't know, you've had a broken arm, let's say, you can't write, you can't use a computer. It might be that you're getting a cast taken off soon, and that'll sort itself out. You might just need a short-term thing, so that'll be sorted by the end of the semester. A learning support plan is for your entirety of your degree, and there is no backtracking the university can do. I know some subjects try. Please, if your subject is saying to you that they won't honour the LSP, please come to me, because I like having these arguments. It's a legally binding thing between you and the university. The learning support plan is for you for the entirety of your degree, and it is there to help you. It has been already authorised by yourself, by the wellbeing at the university, and by your the department in which you reside in as well. So your program director has had to sign this as well. So it's completely signed off for everybody, and it's for things if you have anxiety, depression, there's ongoing health issues, and that's why it goes on a little bit further. Sorry, took over again.
All right. No, that's why you're here, Adam, because you are the person that knows all of this. So it's good for students to know as well, because I think the more that they know, the more that they can understand and fight their own corners as well, or come to you, or come to us as a union, because we can also do that. We have an advice centre, which is run by Ellie Martin. You can also go to Jamie, and he can point you in the right direction. So if there is anything that people need to know or just aren't sure about, there are lots of people available to do that.
No, I think there's something Anna's mentioned before about about the extension forms, also about how they can help out with it. Obviously, throughout the year, obviously not been much promotion about that. So it's good to you to know that obviously you're still here, Adam, next year, aren't you? So doing student minds again, being president. So you're still here available next year for those who maybe didn't access that support this year. You can always do it again next year.
Yeah,
I never go anywhere. So yeah, so. Anything beyond with the extenuating circumstances forms, I until recently worked for the university as well, and when I was originally employed, my expertise to learn was extenuating circumstances forms. I was then promoted and did other things around administration. However, my expertise and literally helped change the policy is extenuating circumstances forms. I do like it when I have arguments with some people from other parts of the university that try and say they definitely know different. They don't. I literally helped mould this with the person that did extenuating circumstances in Central University before they went off on leave. If you need help, please do come, and we will help you as much as we can with it, no matter what it is, how many you can include on it, what dates you need to put, all that kind of stuff. You know, we're here to help with that.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. That leads us quite nicely on actually saying that you're going to be here for X amount of time. Now, you've been around for a while and you plan to be around for a while. Do you want to give us some background on kind of your degree? The fact, so you're a non-traditional student, you're a mature student, and you do non-traditional degrees as well, so you do part-time degrees. So do you want to kind of explain a little bit how that's been, maybe your experiences of that and the issues that you've encountered?
So weirdly, my life became a lot easier with Christchurch when I did a non-traditional kind of degree. So I'm, as well as at the moment, I'm part-time students officer as well. So completely non-traditional for management studies in the business school. I was doing another degree before that at the university, which I left because there was basic information in the subject for which the head of that subject did not understand. So as well as various other things. So actually my my time in the university has been greatly improved by being a non-traditional student. So it's weird because I know for a lot of people, it's the exact opposite. A lot of people out there have the idea, and that's why there's part-time students officer, the idea that actually now I don't know what the hell I'm doing, I never see anybody, so what do I do? So it's not the same route for everyone. I have done various degrees at various places, and I've come across different things. Christchurch is neither best nor worst in terms of non-traditional degrees. Those of you that know me know that's actually a compliment for me. For Christchurch, one of the best lecturers and one of the best academics I've ever had has been one of the academics. I think he's kind of continually put forward for Golden Apple as well. I can say his name, Jake Monk, is from business school. He is my program director. So, you know, there's definitely things they do right. And I think it does come down to the people. Jake is amazing. Like I say, he's been nominated for the Golden Apple, I think, every year since its inception. So I think it really does help when you get the right person there. But obviously, it can be difficult for people that are mature students like me. You know, I was working out generations the other day of like when your parents are born, all that kind of stuff. And I realized that if you just take my age, I'm a millennial. But if you take the age of my parents when they were born, it makes me a completely different generation. And that one's a bit more worrying because my parents were born during the Second World War. So I'd become like the silent generation or something really weird. So yeah, I am definitely a non-traditional student and with different values and things from different backgrounds. So the support is out there because there are a lot of students that have this kind of non-traditional background, especially at Christchurch. In fact, I think it has one of the higher ones in the area for non-traditional entries for students. So yeah,
in the whole university sector, actually, yeah, we are. That's something that we do quite well at in terms of league tables because we're wide in participation and because of the area that we are in. We obviously recruit from low socioeconomic backgrounds.
Yes.
Tongue twister. But yeah, so and we're quite well at it. I think we're doing better as we go on. I mean, from a student perspective, Adam, what do you think? How do you think the union specifically is dealing with non-traditional students?
I've never particularly seen an issue. I mean, just because you throw me under the bus, you are the second mature student that I know to be union president. Steve was the last one, but that was a while ago. But so there has been representation of you know, postgrad students becoming. Oh no, sorry, Steve wasn't the last one. Phil was.
The Phil Mooney. We had Phil Mooney and Steve. They're the only two that I know.
I was like, yeah, sorry, Phil. Yeah, so there are people from random degree paths and stuff like that that have been involved and been represented within the student union. Steve was a mature student. Phil was a mature student who had done a teaching English as foreign language course afterwards. Had also done a teaching course and actually he had lectured at the university as well at one point. So there's weird representations that have been in the student union. So there's definitely widened participation of those that are involved. Whether everything is always perfect for that, I think there's issues because I think but then that comes under, I think, general structures anyway, because structures of universities and societies and everything else in between is done to benefit the majority. That doesn't always work if you're not in the majority, and so trying to structure something like a society around certain timetables or certain structures that actually just don't work for different groups can be difficult. But I don't think that's a fault necessarily of a specific student union. It's just a pain in the arse across the board.
Systemic, isn't it? Yeah, it's a systemic thing that no one's got the perfect answer to. And yeah, we're still working on that, I think. Okay, so I want to move away from like generic student union stuff and more about you, because I've known you, Adam, for what, 2 years now? Probably probably a bit longer since I've been at uni. Like I've known who you are within societies and stuff. And then we were on USEC together, not last year, the year before last. And then you're on my USEC this year when I was development. So we've worked together for quite a while. But I know that you do a lot of fundraising, volunteer your time for different things. You do a lot of degrees. And you do a lot of self-motivated things as well. So I guess I want to tap into that. Let us know what you do, why you do it, what your motivations are, and how you manage it all.
So I hate you.
Sorry to say, like, it's not an interview. So I just not an interview.
It's not an interview, but I'm interested. I think other people. I find.
I mean,
it inspiring.
That is the intro. That is the intro for an interview. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, so for anyone that doesn't know who the hell I am, you probably see me somewhere in the university, but it has no ideas. I'm currently doing 3 degrees, 3 different universities, which is what Becky's on about. We're doing degrees, and that's on to boredom. I have too much spare time, so I do degrees. That's it. I've done ones and I've got credits because then I've had issues and out of them, and gone back. So I have background in politics and political theory masters. I have one of the weirdest sounding invitations because it's about submission and martial arts and random stuff. So yeah, I've got a varied background in terms of things like that. I also was at one point shortlisted to be a delegate to the UN on climate change a few years ago. So it's boredom is more than anything else. In terms of how I can do it, people are going to hate me. I don't find time management that hard. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me being lazy, and I don't sleep enough. Is probably the biggest thing. I don't sleep like 3 or 4 hours a night, so I just have more time because I'm awake. I also don't watch TV, so that probably helps as well. So that's kind of that sort of it. In terms of like volunteering and things like that, there's a lot of reasons. Some of them for reasons I won't go into. But I've always kind of done some kind of volunteering or something. Obviously with self-defense and well-being, which I'm also involved in at the university, we did a runaway event where we try to get away as possible without spending money in 36 hours. And we raised like £1,700 for that. That isn't
so
me.
Well at that, Adam.
That's everyone. So well. That's
yeah, but you were the driving force behind that.
But I mean, that's everyone. That's not me. All I'm doing is facilitating others. So it's all I'm doing is being the catalyst that then means everyone else does it. So I don't know if it's specifically that I'm kind of a major pusher here or anything. It's just that I'm going, right, let's do this, and then doing it, and a load of other people are doing it with me. So it's, it's just I'm just the first person in the conga that was bored enough to get up. So when it's lockdown, I've been a bit weirder. So I just rode for 26 hours and 26 minutes at home on my rowing machine to raise money for Friends Trust. And I'm about to do, which this is more fun because this has just come up from Brain Trust as well. So I'm going to, on June 30th, I'm going to be on home equipment or whatever I can do. I'm going to be run 30 miles, cycling 30 miles, and running 30 miles in 24 hours. So
so just on that note, underneath here, when we do this video, your link will be under here. So everybody, please take a look at Adam's page and donate. It's a fantastic charity. Brain Trust is a charity that I know that you do a lot of work for, and it is a phenomenal charity. So please, everyone, have a little look at the link. Little plug there for you, Adam. There you go.
But yeah, so I think a lot of it's a mix between boredom, passion for the charity, and everything in between. I've always had the in terms of like studying and stuff, I've always had the sort of Tantalus, the idea that I don't understand the notion of not wanting to know everything, whether you can or not. I don't understand the idea that you would want to try. Again, and I'm a bit weird. Like, if you'd have talked to me when I was at school and even said that I was going to college, I would have told you to, one. So I'm the same as everyone else with that. But I think when I went to uni first time, I just suddenly went, oh shit, actually I quite enjoy this. Why the hell do I go and do this? And then just carried on. So yeah, that was the most rambling response. I don't even know if I responded to you.
No, you did. I guess my question would be, so all of this stuff, your time management and all the things that you pile on yourself amongst all the other life stuff that you deal with, how do you keep yourself well? So what advice can you give to others to kind of bring that balance? I'm so aware of who I'm talking to now, but as president of Student Mind, some advice.
I think, well, the first honest thing to say for everyone out there is, most of the time I don't. And I think the idea that the thing that always pisses me off with like online life coaches and all that stuff is how amazing they always seem when they're on camera. Of course they are. They spent 5 hours recording the bloody thing. Don't expect, just because you see your mates or you see someone else or you see someone like, because the shit I get every time of, oh, well, you seem put together, all that shit that everyone gets at some point in their life. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a persona that you see. And I think that's important for everyone to recognize that no one has that amazing answer. Not your counselor, not your doctor, not the guy down the pub. For Christ's sake, not the guy down the pub. It's for you to figure out what's best for you. Myself and Nathan, who's wellbeing next year, have talked about this in a podcast that we did together in terms of meditation, because we're both meditation instructors. We both do that in different ways. We were saying that actually everyone has this idea of a serenity when they look at things like meditation and how, you sit there and go for 20 minutes. But actually, if you're, let's say you're a metalhead and we try and play you Rachmaninoff, you're not going to concentrate. You're not going to be serene. You'll be far better in a mosh pit. And actually, that's probably more meditative to you than sitting down is. So I think the main thing is to find your route. You can get advice from other people and they can give you an idea of, well, try looking at what you do here and how do you feel here and all that kind of nice thing, glasses on, looking down, looking into a pad while you're on a sofa type bollocks. But at the end of the day, you need to identify it because you're the one that's being helped by it. And it might be that you need a little bit of advice for people to go, oh, well, you seemed okay when you were doing this. Like, have you tried doing this again? That's the kind of advice I think your friends and your family can give you. If they're going, oh, well, you just go for a run, helps everyone. No, it doesn't.
No.
There's serotonin levels and adrenaline, things that should help. Doesn't mean it's going to, and chemistry and everything is different for everybody. So it's just about finding the best you, take advice on what your friends and family, when they saw you in better times, and see how you can mix that in with how you feel at better times. So, yeah.
I think that's really good advice. I think that there isn't one problem that solves, I think that solves everyone's problems, because everyone's so different. So what works for me wouldn't work for you, Adam, wouldn't work for you, Jamie. We're very different people. I think for me, it's about self-reflection and understanding yourself to a point where you can then identify what works for you. Like being outside, right? This is why I sit outside, because this for me works. This keeps me level and okay and all the rest of it, so you can attack the day. For other people, that causes anxiety. Being inside is actually more secure for them, so that's what they prefer doing. But it's just different types of people and figuring out what works for you. Solid advice. Jamie, have you, so you're very, I know both of you individually. You're a very different person to me and Adam. We've got an age difference anyway, so I think we enjoy doing different things and engaging in different things. What works for you? What do you enjoy doing?
So if I need some sort of like downtime or like reflection time, just say I tend to go for like a walk or go for us to do some exercise. I know obviously it doesn't work for everyone, as we just stated, but I tend to hate being at home. I like to keep busy, a bit like Adam as well. I like to keep busy. I like to keep doing things. So I like go and see people. I like meeting friends. I like going out for walks. That sort of thing works for me. So I hate having to have an evening and nothing to do. I hate just watching TV as well. I like watching TV, but I hate just sitting there. I'd rather be out meeting people or going for a walk. So that sort of things really makes me feel a bit more reassured about myself. But yeah, so that sort of things that I tend to do.
So yeah, I guess it's just identifying that, isn't it, and figuring it out. So for other people at the university, the uni do a lot of different things. Obviously, when we're there physically, they do loads of stuff. So you can engage in kind of the stress less things, and you go to the gym and various different stuff like that. But now that we're virtual, how would we suggest, as a union and Adam as Student Minds, what are we suggesting students to do? Because mental health right now is a real concern. It's my personal concern for people, but I know it's the university's concern as well. So what are we suggesting?
Sorry. I don't have as much faith there, Becky. I'm sorry, if I'm being honest. It may be the student union's concern. I'm not too happy about the idea that it's also the universities, considering that when they do a wellbeing event for their own staff, it's 4 benches out of fucking pond. But there we go. And to be perfectly honest, the only time that the university is going to pay attention is if we actually talk to them normally and stop being worried about ourselves. Anyway, I think each individual's thing for mental health at the moment, we're all going to be affected, obviously, by being stuck inside, even if you like being stuck inside. There's plenty of people that are quite happy to be inside on, gaming for 18 hours a day, but actually that's because you have the choice of being outside and going around and traveling and stuff when you're not doing it. And I think that's where the issue is coming. People are misidentifying the idea of their freedom and their ability to go outside. So I think something that's definitely going to help is if people try and take stock of what they can do. That might be, for me, it's Freddie, come here. Come here. You're not old, don't go. Right, so for me, it's him.
Oh, he's so adorable.
He's a great reason to be able to go outside. I can give him a walk.
Yeah.
Say hello, Freddie. No. He needs to be walked twice. We've got unlimited exercise now, so walking the dog once or twice a day, or for him, just stay outside because he's mental. But you can do things like that gives you something else to do. And you can try and work around, let's walk the dog a little bit further, or I'll go where I used to go. Obviously, I can't go in to have coffee or anything like that. But it's doing things like that. Great one for a friend of mine who's actually doing with the coffee, because they had coffee every day. All they've done is gone to, I think it was Asda or something like that. They've bought the machine that had like the little Costa pods or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they pay themselves every day for a coffee.
Brilliant.
So they basically in their back garden just pay themselves. Oh yeah, I'm having this. Oh well, that'd be £3.50, and they've just turned themselves into their own barista. So they've tried to make life as similar as it was before as it can be for them now. And I think that's important that people try and keep that kind of balance. When I was doing a podcast recently with Ben Reeves, who's the treasurer for Student Minds, and we were talking about what's the best thing for people to do at the moment. And he was saying as well, because he, as you know, he's on the podcast, so everyone knows for that. He's had issue with mental health issues as well, a little bit more severe than mine in certain ways. And he said the biggest thing for him is to literally get up, just get out of bed and try and have some stability and normality to your life, rather than treating it like one big holiday, because then, it just gets too much. I think there was Sean Locke or someone just said like 2 weeks is too long for a holiday. And I think that's kind of what's happening now, is everyone's holiday is going on a bit too long.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think I've had lots of conversations, like it's no secret, both know. So I have bipolar disorder, which that needs quite careful management, but without medication, for me, it's routine, regular exercise, and kind of the structure of my day and my life. Lockdown threw that all out of the window because I suddenly have a toddler at home with me, so I can't go to the gym 3-4 times a week. I don't have that routine where I leave the house and have demarcation. So it's been quite an interesting way of kind of dealing with it. And for me, is literally getting up in the morning at the same time. We have weekly daily meetings every morning at 9 o'clock, so that gives me something to get up for and get dressed for. And I think a lot of people will be in a similar situation, with or without mental health concerns or issues or whatever. Like, that's something very important to being human. Like, you need to get up and have that routine, otherwise there's no purpose in what you're doing. Yeah, no, interesting. Okay, so we've talked about the university and you're not particularly happy with where that's going. So what suggestions could you give in terms of the student feedback that you've heard and your personal experiences of how they could improve that?
Sorry, Becky, audio completely disappeared on me then. What was that?
So the university, what would you suggest the university could do and the union could do to do more for mental health support for students?
I mean, the university is to fucking listen for once would be helpful.
Adam, we're being recorded.
I mean, huh?
We're recording.
My university. You warned them. You said the trigger warning beforehand. So if anyone ever listens to the Student Mind podcast, just as a pre-warning, I do a long spiel about the trigger warnings beforehand because of the fact that there's honesty and they're completely unted and everything like that. So I think listening would be a helpful one because half the time it isn't. And this has happened throughout everything that university does, whether it's mental health or not. This is what we're going to do. Right, let's ask 500 people. Okay, let's now do what we were going to do in the first place. And that's the problem. That's the problem with mental health, and it's something that they never identify. They have their answer, and they don't want to listen to what the other answer is. But the consultation, of course, means, well, of course we listened to you. No, you didn't. You put it in the bin. So I think the biggest thing, and beyond that, you can't really give anything else, is listen. Because beyond that, I can't give the advice because I haven't got the direct responses of what those actual answers would be to the university. It's why with Student Minds, we try and make sure that continually people tell us what we should be working on rather than, we'll have ideas of what we want to work on in the year and there'll be big things that we want to do. But beyond that, it's for students to come to us and ask what to do. Because if we're dealing with mental health, came into it the idea that this is what we're going to do, end of, job done, because that's our problem, then you've lost that battle already. It's not our individual egos that have to be massaged. It's dealing with the students. And that's what has to be done. I think the student union is better at it. I think there's also things that could be done as well around that. But I think that comes down to individual training or just recognizing of people that may have specific issues and recognizing that when interacting with them, that potentially there's reasons behind language or reasons behind various other things that I think could be identified better in the student union. But I think they're still far better at dealing with a general idea of things than the university is. But yeah, so I think the main thing is listen first, then come up with your plan of attack. Don't come up with your plan of attack and then decide to listen when you're halfway through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really solid, and I hope the university do watch these podcasts, so it may be something that does get fed back, and maybe they will listen. I guess so. We've got 5 minutes left. What I'd like to do is round up by going through one by one and giving one thing that we're going to do within the next couple of days to make ourselves feel a bit more normal or a bit happier, or like bring ourselves up a little bit, so maybe other people can get ideas from that. So Jamie, would you like to start? One thing that you're going to do. So
one thing, so obviously Mental Health Awareness Week this week, obviously mental health support throughout the year, and also we just highlight the importance of it during this week. But I think obviously the theme this year is kindness. So I'd like to do some more kind things to other people. So I might send my grandparents I haven't seen for a while, maybe a parcel, like a present, some flowers, or send somebody you haven't seen for a while, send something nice to them. It doesn't have to be a parcel. It can just be a nice little card, or even video them something or something like that. So I want to do something a bit more kind to other people. So obviously, and also stick to my routine better as well, as you said, as we discussed earlier on.
No more Animal Crossing till 3 o'clock in the morning, Jamie. It's not helpful.
No. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, stick to go to bed at normal time, and then wake up normal 9 o'clock. Sometimes it's very easy. Sometimes, isn't it, to wake up at 10 or just like 1 minute to 9 and just go straight to the meeting. So it's much better to be prepared and showered, ready to go for the day, rather than waking up.
Yeah. So we've got a new fire pit that's been built. So I'm going to have a fire tonight and roast marshmallows with Phoebes. And yeah, so she really enjoys it. It's outside, it's kind of a little bit different. It's a memory for lockdown, because I think for me, having a little one in this could either be the best time of her life or the absolute worst time of her life. So I'm trying to make it the best so she looks back on it in a really positive way. Adam?
Firstly, am I the only one that still has no idea what the hell Animal Crossing is? And just no.
Yeah.
I hear it. I don't know. If anyone's seen the meme, I am Homer in the bar, just going, yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff going on in my life at the moment anyway, so I'm going to be mixing that with the thing for normality for me is I'm going to be hitting stuff with a lot more controlled sounds, but because like I said, with self-defense and well-being, I'm involved as well. So I've done martial arts since I was like 4 years old, so it's going to be a lot more of that kind of training, stuff like that, to try and bring some normality, because there's working out, but then there's other sides to it, and there's any pent-up aggression and a lot of stuff that you may need to, I certainly need to get out, that probably going to be doing over the weekend and coming days, to try and bring some kind of, if not normality, some catharsis.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's really good. Thank you. I'm glad for all of you that we've got something to do. Jamie, just to let you know, Jamie is your president of wellbeing. So if you do need to contact Jamie or Adam, anyone within the year, please do. All of the links will be attached anyway, including Adam's fundraising page. So have a little look at that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the next podcast, we don't know what it's going to be on yet. So any suggestions, let us know. But it will be next week. Okay, brilliant.
Okay.
All done.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.